After the fall of Constantine, my young student managed to establish stronger links between the old nations and the natives. Some of their donegada were even invited to the continent, and with their help, it slowly became a land filled with life again. And for the first time in a long while, the number of cases of the Malichor is decreasing. After the fall of Constantine, things went back to the way they were. The settlers kept flowing in, and the influence of the old nations on the island increased. It relegated the natives to small enclaves around their villages. The Malichor devastated everything, and eventually even appeared on Tir-Fradee. After the fall of Constantine, my young student tried to establish stronger links between the old nations and the natives. But alas, the old nations were reluctant to listen to the advice of the donegada. The situation with the congregation soon improved, thanks to their teachings. However, the Malichor kept devastating the lands of their neighbors. Of those who fought valiantly in Dorhad Genadu, very few survived, but they were crowned with glory, for despite their small number, they had managed to prevent the worst from happening. Those who had been the traveling companions of our young legate were the first to fall. Amongst the dead was, alas, the body of Kurt, the brave warrior who had sacrificed himself for us to achieve victory. This broke my young student's heart. She still wears a necklace in his memory today. The wise Seora was, alas, amongst those who were sacrificed. She was laid to rest next to her mother. My young student, who loved her dearly, still wears a necklace in her memory today. Afra, the brilliant naturalist, was sadly one of those whose body was found. My enamored young student never fully recovered from this. Alas, the body of Vasco, the young captain, was found amongst the dead. My young student, who had lost both a brother-in-arms and a lover, never recovered from this. Those who bravely fought at Dorhad Genadu were celebrated everywhere. After all, if it weren't for this unlikely alliance, the island would have fallen into Constantine's greedy hands. Kurt was regarded as a hero, but reuniting with the one he loved was the only thing that mattered to him. He is still by her side today, ensuring her protection from all dangers. This victory allowed Seora to become the Mal of her village. But she often leaves to be reunited with the one she believes to be her soulmate. This victory earned Afra the respect of all the native clans. She now spends most of her time with them, when she isn't with the man she loves, of course. Following this amazing victory, Vasco was awarded the rank of Commander of the Fleet, but he refused this honor. He preferred to stay beside the one he loved, although they do occasionally put out to sea. Sieglinde took Kurt as an advisor, but he insisted on keeping his place alongside his former student and friend, watching his back, as he always had. Seora obtained the title of Mal of the Red Spears alongside her twin. She leads them with wisdom, but often reunites with the one she still calls her Karants. Afra set aside her weapons and went back to her research on the native culture and flora of the island. It is said that she is even writing a book with the help of Dunkasi's clan when not visiting her friends. For his bravery, Vasco was awarded the rank of commander. He now travels the sea at the head of a whole fleet, but he often comes back to visit his brother-in-arms. Petrus's ambitions have finally been fulfilled. He obtained the much-coveted title of Cardinal. Despite the responsibilities implied by such a title, he still sometimes visits the one he calls his child. These precious friendships allowed my student to slowly forget Kurt's treason, even though he still feels bitter about it at times. Siora, who had taken back her role as the Donegad of her clan, convinced them to join the Donea Exregao. Her heart was still full of disappointment for the time she spent in vain alongside a Renaigse. Despite the help Ulan received, which allowed him to restore the importance of the Sisai Gnameus, he still had to renounce the role of Marl as he faced the contempt of the other clans. Her friendship with the Renaigse helped Deirdre to overcome her reticence. She willfully accepted to follow the orders of her new High King. Thanks to the help Dunkas's clan received, it continued on its mission to heal the earth. It attracted many young islanders who were eager to learn. Under Ulan's authority, the face of the island changed. New mines, fields, and sawmills appeared. Cities became larger. All of this contributed to the wealth and power of the Sisagnames clan, at the expense of the others. After driving off the settlers, Deirdre started destroying what they had built. She wanted to erase all traces of the inquisitors and savants who had hurt her people, only keeping what her Karants advised her to keep. Dunkas and his people spent a lot of time with savants and theologians. Patiently, they shared their knowledge of the earth and learnt new techniques from one another, and in so doing, they restored balance between the new world and the old. Following the investigations revealing the horrifying practices of Dr. Asili, the Alliance changed their methods and even appointed an ethics council to oversee the work of its scholars. Despite the closure of Dr. Asili's laboratory and his death, other scholars followed in his steps. They continued his horrible practices, simply being more discreet about them. The natives' hostility towards the Alliance has not diminished, and Governor Byrne is in a delicate situation, especially considering some sordid rumors in Al-Sad regarding the practices of the scholars he protects. The public revelations of St. Matthias's life led to a deep change in Teleme. The Ordo Luminis was dismantled for good, and the missionaries' purpose is now to establish dialogue rather than conversion. As the discoveries regarding St. Matthias's life had been kept secret, the Ordo Luminis' importance in Teleme kept growing. This generated much conflict among the islanders. By wanting to convert the natives at all costs, including by force, Teleme's only reward was their anger. Bogged down in the political maneuvers of the missionaries and the Ordo Luminis, San Mateus struggled. Now that the Naut's sailing techniques were known, others tried their hand at them, without success for the time being. Simply knowing the techniques could not take the place of the guild's centuries of experience. Aware that their culture of secrets would lead them to their demise, the Nauts changed their methods. They welcomed numerous new recruits amongst them, notably natives. Admiral Cabral had to face a mutiny as it became apparent that the guard had been informed of the Nauts' secrets. More secretive than ever, the Nauts withdrew, only accepting the seaborn amongst them. Although it was weakened on the continent, the guard's influence kept growing on the island around their city of Hikmet. They managed to establish peace with the natives, where the Alliance had only managed to create anger. Already weakened on the continent, the Guard had trouble staying in control of San Mateus. At first, the religious population of the city rejected the authority of their commander. But due to its significant distance from Teleme, they eventually accepted it. Under Sieglinder's control, the Guard returned to the honorable values that had made its reputation. And they did so all the more easily now that their shadiest members were out of the picture. Despite the negative influence of some shady members in their midst. Once Constantine had fallen, Deirdre kept her promise. She led all the native clans as they managed to drive the invaders off their island. The island found peace again, and nature took over the abandoned cities. But the old nations were plunged into war, and the Malicor grew ever more devastating. Who could have predicted, when my two young students left the port of Serene, that they'd become the gods of Teofredi, thus plunging the world into chaos? Certainly not me. So it seems that I am a poor teacher. Amongst those who had tried to prevent the ritual from taking place, only a handful of dazed survivors remained, helplessly facing hordes of creatures following the orders of the two cousins. Afra and Petrus, former rivals, fell together. They couldn't accept this treason from the one they believed in. As for Vasco, he managed to run away and join the Naut fleet. Rumor has it that he went to their island, his heart full of bitterness, and never left it again. With his help, Kurt managed to leave Teofredi, but only to die on another battlefield. As for Siora, it is said that mid-battle she became a Nardaig to protect Enon Milfrichtimen. But she also fell under the corrupting control of Constantine, and now serves him in her new form. Siora had done well to go back to her sister, who tried to lead a rebellion for a while. But just like the rest of the clans, she eventually acknowledged the power of their new gods. Exiled from the island, all our nations sunk into a state of constant warfare, each accusing the others of being responsible for their terrible defeat. The congregation is now on the verge of falling, and I have no doubt that the others will follow. The lives which haven't been taken by war will be taken by the Malicor. On Teofredi, the Nauts report that nature has reclaimed its rights in the cities. After a period of chaos that saw the death of many rebel islanders, the survivors reportedly all ended up acknowledging the power of the two cousins. But sadly, this is nothing but hearsay, since the news we receive is scarce and getting even more so.